Hello everyone, and welcome to our SQE Open Day. My name is Naima Zayla and I am a legal coordinator here at BARBRI. And today I will be covering our course content and my experiences of that as a student. And we will also be covering student support, exam information and career support also. And if you could change the next slide, please. Perfect. So I'll be covering the BARBRI SQE course content. And so our key features for our course include our personalized study plan. So our personalized study plan is our management tool. In our personalized study plan, you will find everything that you need for your course. So it's just a matter of logging in and it will tell you exactly how many hours you need to dedicate to listening to lectures, how many hours you need to do for readings, and then also how much time you need to spend embedding that learning with some multiple choice questions. And so we use a tool called Isaac. And Isaac is an intuitive study assistant coach, which essentially uses artificial intelligence to kind of track your progress and to see how you're doing. Our other key features are inclusive of a one-to-one personal mentor, which is your learning coach throughout the course. Your one-to-one mentor will be a fully qualified English solicitor, and they will also have kind of previous experience in postgraduate legal courses. The mentor is someone who will be available to you kind of from onset, from when you start the course right through to the moment that you sit your exam. The idea behind it is that your mentors are available to you through one-to-one meetings, which you can book as they kind of make their calendars available to you. And then through that, you are able to book a meeting with your mentor at your convenience. So the mentor is there for you in obviously everything regarding the course, and they're also there to support any kind of additional needs you may have. We also have a faculty of experienced law practitioners and lecturers. So all of the lectures are delivered by top Russell Group professors and practitioners as well. So you are in the best possible hands as far as all your lectures are concerned. We use, obviously, as the SQE1 is a multiple choice exam, we have practitioners and lecturers who have an expertise in multiple choice questions. SQE1 requires you to sit 360 questions over 2 days. So it is really about perfecting the skill of an MCT. As well as your personalized study plan, so your management tool, you'll also be given 2 hard copy books. These books are available to you digitally as well. So when you log into your personalized study plan, there are digital versions of all the extracts of the chapters in the books as well. And then finally, you also have touch point workshops. Now, these workshops are delivered in our 40-week program, for example, once a month. And they work on all things like exam resilience, the skill of the MCT, and just generally keeping you kind of going on the course. And then finally, and this is probably a key feature, is the progress tracker. Now our personalized study plan has a progress tracker, which is tooled by Isaac, and I'm going to show you a little bit about how that progress tracker is used in your PSP. So Anna, if you could hit the next slide for me. Perfect. So this is what an example would look like of your progress on your personalized study plan. So as you can see, on the top hand side, it shows you kind of a screenshot of your progress. The idea behind it is that you complete in about 400 hours of study over the course, and we would expect you to do about 80% of that in order to pass. So each week it tells you how many hours you are expected to complete and how many hours you've actually completed. So you should be able to see at the bottom, for example, in week 7, you would have completed about 13 hours, and then it kind of calculates that for each week going forward. Could you click the next slide for me, please? And so your progress is kind of separated by subject areas. So each subject area will have a progress bar quite like this, and it will show you how far you've completed. So as you can see here, the example is business law, and with about 23 assignments completed here, we're looking at about 70% of the course of that subject progressed so far. Whereas with constitutional law, 18 assignments have been completed out of the 19 total, so you're looking at about an 89% progress for that subject. So you can look at the overall progress for all your subjects. You can hone in on each subject more specifically, but the idea behind it is it will tell you exactly how you're doing with regards to kind of all the assessments that you're expected to do. If you could press the next slide, please. So your learning and practice questions, so these are multiple choice questions that you kind of you'll experience within the lectures and through the course, and then yeah, it's kind of giving you a bit of a breakdown here. I hope you can see each of the subjects are at the bottom. The idea behind it is that it kind of tracks your progress through the weeks for each of those subjects. And then it will kind of give you a weekly progress kind of update for each subject. So as you can see, for example, the contract law option is probably the one that requires a little bit of work here. So by looking at this progress chart, it should show you that you're not doing as well in contract as you are perhaps in some of the other subjects, and so it would probably make sense to spend a little bit more time looking at some contract questions and really focus on that subject to bring that up as well. So yeah, could you click on the next slide, please? And then finally, we have here a weekly progress, and this is again by subjects, but it kind of shows you specifically how you've gone through the subjects in which you're doing the best in over the weeks. So the first one here, I believe, it's ethics. I think it's ethics and professional contacts. That is kind of the top one there. The main thing about the personalized study plan and how you can track your progress is by just kind of filling in how you would like to study each week. So you can opt to do, for example, a 5-day week or a 6-day week, and then it will allow you to kind of break down the amount of hours that you're expected to do each week. So it will show you daily how many hours of lectures you're supposed to be doing, how many hours of lectures you're supposed to be listening to, how much time you're supposed to be spent looking at legal assessment questions, and then also any reading that you're supposed to do. So each time that you've completed a lecture, for example, you just tick it off, and then from there that completes, and then it kind of deducts the amount of the amount of hours that you're expected to do for that day. So if, for example, you want to study over a 5-day period, you might decide that you're only studying Monday through to Friday, so that your weekends are always free for you. Then it will break down, your 10 to 12 hours over 5 days, and then it might expect you to do about 2 hours of study a day, and then within that 2 hours you're expected to obviously listen to some lectures, and then each time you listen to a lecture you complete that. Similarly with any reading that you're expected to do, so extracts of you know, each of the readings in the book are obviously also put on your personalized study plan, so that when you do a reading, you just complete it, and again, it ticks off, and then that kind of deducts from the amount of hours or time that you have left for that day. And then the idea behind it is when you've completed that week, it kind of generates a bit of a weekly progress by a subject. So yeah, the idea behind it is that you're just constantly tracking how you're doing, and then in turn kind of seeing where you're not doing as well, and then really picking up on that subject, doing more multiple choice questions, and yeah, just embedding your learning. The multiple choice questions do start from week 1, so as soon as you kind of start studying, you'll start to see how these multiple choice questions are embedded into your learning, and then from there your progress will kind of be each subject's progress will be kind of monitored on a weekly basis. Next slide, please.
So I think I'm going to take it from here, Naima. Yeah, so my name's Tom. I work as a legal advisor for BARBRI, so I talk to people sort of pre-enrolment and let them know if they talk through any issues they may have, any concerns. And yes, today I'll just be talking to you about all the different course options and the sort of enrolment process behind that. So Anna, if we could go straight on to the next slide, that'd be great. Perfect. So just a bit of background, for the SQE1, we offer 3 courses per exam session. So this slide is showing July 2022, and the next one is showing the next available SQE1 exam, which is January 2023. There we go, thanks Anna. So I'll go from the January 2023. They basically show the same information. It's just obviously the enrolment dates are slightly different. For people obviously joining us now, this is the sort of first exposure to the SQE and to BARBRI, you know, these dates might be a bit more applicable. So we'll just stay on here, and if you do have any questions about, you know, the courses preparing for July 2022, we can always go back to that. So yeah, our 3 different course options range from sort of fully part-time to fully full-time, part-time being 40 weeks and the full-time being 10 weeks. The 20-week course is very much sort of a mid-ground between that. So as you can see, there's little descriptions for each course, who it is best for. And if you guys want to, we can put a link in at the end where there's basically on our website, it's which course is best for you. You can complete a little survey, and based off of, you know, your own circumstances, schedule and stuff like that, the website basically recommends which one of these 3 options would be best for you. Just for reference, they all contain the same content and they're all the same price. So it's very much how long you have basically to commit to each of the courses and complete the actual content itself. Thank you, Anna, for putting that in the chat. So starting off with the 40-week, this course offers probably the most amount of flexibility, just purely because obviously you have the longest amount of time, and therefore you have to do the least amount of work per week to complete it. So for the 40 week, as it says at the bottom there, it's about 10 to 12 hours of work per week. This course is really designed for people in full-time employment, whether that be law or non-law graduates. If you are from a non-law background, this would definitely be the best option for you, regardless of whether or not you're in full-time employment, purely because it just gives you that extra amount of time to actually learn the content from square one. Also, if you have sort of no prior background with English law, but you studied overseas, you qualified overseas, this obviously for the same reasons, because you're starting at square one, would also probably be the best option for you. Then moving on to the 20-week course, as I said, it is a bit of a mid-ground between the 2, that being the 40 and the 10-week. It says at the bottom there it's about 20 hours per week. That can range from 20 to 25, just depending on the sort of assignments per week. But all of these at the bottom are just sort of like averages. You might find some weeks a bit less, some weeks a bit more. The 20-week course is technically a part-time option for recent law graduates and people who graduated, 3+ years ago. It isn't completely full-time in the sense that 20 to 25 hours per week. If you do complete, 3 hours a day during Monday to Friday, you're only then going to have to complete, 5-10 hours on the weekend. So it is technically still part-time, just a little less flexible and a bit more intense than the 40-week. The last one is really the 10-week course. As I mentioned, this is our full-time option. That 35 hours per week at the bottom is sort of a 35 hours plus. So it can be a bit more than that. And this is really aimed at those people who've just graduated from their LLB in the UK, specifically England and Wales. And yeah, with that, you know, you're going to be committing a lot of time. It's for those people who just want to start the course sort of as late as possible, already have a decent understanding of all the content, and then just need to add up the little last things with the actual SQE itself, and then also get the exam practice in as well, because it's likely during your LLB you would have never sort of experienced anything like the SQE before. So a lot of the work is going to be to do with the exam practice, the multiple choice practice, and getting that exam skill and technique up to scratch to allow you to actually then pass the exam. And yeah, that's really it with the 3 different course options. I think Tracy said in the chat, I believe, the next exam is for July 2022. So, you know, if you are looking at joining a course right now, our 20-week course will be beginning in February, on the 21st of February. And the 10-week course will be beginning in late April. I can't remember the exact date off the top of my head, unfortunately. Sorry, guys. Then our 40-week course, obviously we're on this screen now. So if you're not looking at doing the next available SQE1, you know, you want to delay, even though it's only a 6-month delay, which in the grand scheme of things isn't too bad. We have a 40-week course that will also be starting at late April, preparing for the January 2023 exam. And then our 20-week course will begin in September 2022, and our 10-week course will begin in November 2022. So you've got a bit of time to think about it, guys. No real rush if you're looking at doing January 2023. You can obviously go on our website, check everything out, and see which course fits you. With our 40-week course as well, key to mention, if you guys are looking at doing the July 2022 exam, we are currently still enrolling on it, but only for about 6 more days. And currently to date, about 80 hours of work has been set. So unless you are willing to catch up on 80 hours of work and then sort of then move on to the part-time schedule, you know, it's probably not going to be an option for you. But just to make you aware, if that is something that you were looking at and something you'd be willing to do in terms of committing the hours, you know, it is still available until next Tuesday. So you better get a move on, really. Right, can we move to the next slide, please, Anna? Brilliant. So yeah, the next sort of things I'm going to talk through is just the fees and the enrolment process. So our SQE1 fees are £2,999. With that, we do offer instalment plans. We also have a scholarships system. So, you know, you can go on our website and check out any available scholarships, or get in contact with a member of our team. And after I'm done, I'm just going to put a few emails in the chat. So if you guys have any sort of general inquiries about the course, you can always just email that. And myself, Naima, or someone else in the team will be more than happy to help you out with that. And then there's also third-party loans available. So we're partnered with 3 different loans companies. Again, information about that is on our website. There is also one more that isn't currently listed on our website, but if you do, just ask us about it. You know, we can always just send you over the information for that. As it says follow the QR code for further info. That just takes you to our general SQE site. You can check out our instalment plans. With that, I'll quickly run through them, but you can see them in further detail. And then also you can find our scholarships page under SQE funding on our website. So with the instalment plans, our 40-week course, obviously not only the flexibility of the actual hours, it offers the most flexible funding options. So we can split it into up to 8 installments for the 40-week course. And then that moves down to 3 installments for the 20-week, and then 2 installments for the 10-week course. With that, you will be required, when you're actually enrolling on the course, to pay an £199 enrolment deposit. That's accounted for in your total fees. So all of these installments, you know, the 8 installments, that will be splitting £2,800 into the relative amounts. So, for example, if you're doing 8 installments on the 40-week course, you'll be paying £350 a month. With all of our installment plans, one thing, there is a one-off fee of £99 just to cover the costs of repeat transactions for us. So that's levied on the first installment. So just to make you guys aware, that'll make the fees obviously go up to £3,098. With our scholarships, we offer two main ones that are currently running. We have an essay competition, so if you guys fancy yourselves as a bit of a scholar, you can obviously write an essay and try and get a discount through that. But we also have a public sector discount. So if any of you guys are sort of working within the charity sector, doing a lot of pro bono work and stuff like that, you can obviously submit an application towards that, and there is the potential to get a discount off the course fees as well. Do just check our websites if you guys are interested in scholarships, because if anything new pops up that isn't currently running right now, you can always benefit from that if you think it would be applicable to you. With the actual enrolment, just to give you a short breakdown, I think if we actually move on to the next slide, Anna, it covers it on that. Yeah, there we go. So this would be the enrolment timeline. So this is one of the emails I was going to put in the chat anyway. It's our general SQE inquiries email, sque@barbri.com. If you have any pre-enrollment questions, do just reach out. Like I said, myself, Naima, or another member of the team will pick up on it and get back to you as quickly as possible. But if you guys are ready to actually enroll, thanks for putting that in the chat, Naima. If you guys are ready to enroll, like I said, first of all, you're just going to have to submit an enrolment form and pay an £199 enrolment deposit. That deposit is non-refundable, so obviously by paying that, you are at that point committing to it. But once that's done, your enrolment form will be sent to us, and it's usually processed within 48 working hours by our operations team, at which point you'll actually be issued an invoice for the full amount, and then they'll just send you a receipt for the £199. It's just to make sure, if we have auditors knocking on the door, we don't get screwed over by losing £200 per student. With the invoice, it does outline all of our accepted payment methods and how you can go about setting up a payment plan, everything like that. Just to make you aware, we have 3 different payment methods. You can pay over the phone, you can pay by bank transfer, and we also have a third-party payment processing partner. So as I said before, you can join the instalment plan, but you do have to pay an admin fee of £99 on your first instalment. So just to make you aware, it does cost a tiny bit to obviously split it up, but for those who, £3,000 as a lump sum fee, that it might not be completely financially viable. So obviously splitting it over instalments for just £100 does allow you obviously, if you're not in the financial position to commit fully to the £3,000 in 1 month, it does allow you to still obviously attain the sort of the level of prep and the dream of actually becoming a lawyer without the funds available straight away. Once your payment is received, and if obviously applicable, your payment plan set up, you'll gain access to the course basically straight away. So everything that Naima kindly demonstrated would be yours for the taking. And you'll also have your hard copy books ordered and shipped for delivery. They can be shipped internationally. So I saw someone pop up saying they were in Mauritius earlier. It can be shipped all over the world. It's not just the UK. We basically have everywhere covered that, FedEx, DPD and UPS actually cover. So you should be okay. With the mentor as well, I know Naima touched on that. That's usually assigned to you within a week of you enrolling. Bearing in mind, obviously, that's within, if the course is started, that's within 7 days. If the course hasn't started yet, you'll obviously be shipped your books, but you wouldn't actually get, access to everything immediately. You would just gain access to it when it actually begins. And then from there, once your mentor's assigned, you'll then get all the information to contact them, and you can start setting up meetings, emailing them, calling them, and really start progressing towards actually passing the SQE1. I'm not too sure. I think there's one more slide on my part, Anna. If you go on to the next one, yes, there is. So just as a few options, that's always good to keep in your sort of back pocket. What we do offer are deferrals and guarantees. So firstly, with the deferral, if you aren't able to sit the exam, for whatever reason, be it through, you don't feel prepared enough, you try to book but you can't, these sort of things, or you just can't attend on the day for whatever reason, you can basically defer your course for a further fee of £199. and that will give you full access to another course and full mentor support. And you can start that course within 12 months of your first one actually beginning. So let's say, for example, you take the 40-week course preparing for July 2022. You would be able to defer your course to any course beginning before July 2023, and then prepare for that exam that the course relates to. Sorry, I'm saying course about 500 times here, guys. You can only defer your first course. So when I move on to the guarantee, do be aware that this is only a one-time sort of option, and you wouldn't be able to do it with the guarantee. Moving on then with the guarantee, what we do have and what we pride ourselves in is, top level prep that hopefully everyone taking our course will pass first time. But obviously, a lot of these exams do depend on your performance on the day. You can be prepared, through your teeth. And unfortunately, if something goes wrong on the day, these things do happen. If you don't pass the exam, don't worry, we've got your back. You are eligible to one course free of charge. And that again can be used within 12 months, but instead of the course ending, it will be within receiving your results. So likely 6 to 10 weeks after the exam's actually taken place, because that's the sort of period in which the exam results are actually released. So with that, again, with the guarantee, you do get provided with full online access to our course materials and full mentor support. So yeah, you're basically going to get the exact same level of prep with the books. Deferrals and guarantees don't come with new hard copy books, but because you're provided with online and hard copy versions, you will always have the most up-to-date materials. And realistically, year on year, the law doesn't change too much. So yeah, a lot of the content is actually going to remain the same. But if in the event something does get updated, you will still have access to all of that just through the ebooks. And obviously, additional books are available to be purchased if you do want them. But I'm not going to go too much into detail on that, because realistically, that's a discussion for if and when it comes down the line. And I think that's me. I think I'm going to hand it over, I believe, to Tracy now, if I'm not mistaken, or possibly Jude.
No, I think it's me now, Tom. Thanks.
Okay, perfect. I'll leave. Sorry, Tracy, 2 last things. I need to hop off here, guys. I'm going to put my email in the chat, and obviously Naima's put in the general email. If you guys do have any questions, about the course or anything like that, feel free to reach out to me, and I'll do my best to answer any of those. But I'll let Tracy take it away. I won't hog the limelight anymore.
Thanks so much, Tom. In relation to the some of the questions that are coming in on the chat, we are going to be splitting up into breakout rooms later on after we've done this presentation, when we will be available to answer specific questions in relation to particular points. So we've been answering some of the general questions, but we will be answering some more of those specific questions later on in the breakout room. So we're not ignoring them. It's just this isn't quite the forum to actually be bringing some of those more specific points in. Okay, so you will have the opportunity to ask those questions and to have them answered when we go into the breakout rooms towards the end of this open day today. Okay, so just to sort of point that out. So going on to the next slide then, please, Anna, if you would, for me. Okay, so I just want to tell you a little bit about the actual exam itself, and I am going to be dealing with both the SQE1 and the SQE2 exams. I know there have been a couple of questions about that in the chat. So first of all, as I think Jude responded in the chat, the SQE1 exam fee is payable directly to Kaplan. And that is a separate exam fee which you must pay to Kaplan when you actually register to sit your exam. And you have to pay the full fee when you actually register to sit. And there then is a period of time where you can actually withdraw from that exam, and you will get £60 they will keep £60 as a cancellation fee, but after that period of time, they will keep 3/4 of the exam fee if you do not actually sit the exam. So you have to think very carefully about which exam you're actually going to be sitting and making sure that you're prepped for it. And in particular, if you are going to withdraw from that exam and defer your course, as Tom was talking about, you need to make sure you withdraw from the Kaplan SQE1 exam registration in enough time to make sure that you're actually getting your fees back. We do tell you about that when you're actually on the course. We're warning all our students as that deadline's coming up. So, and you can speak to your learning coach about it if you're worried about whether you're prepared. So we will be covering that when you're actually in the course, but it is something to bear in mind. So that exam fee is paid directly to Kaplan, and you actually have to open an account with the SRA before you can actually register for your exam. The exam registration generally happens, depending on which course you're in, whilst you're already in the course, because, for example, for the July 2022 exam, the exam window to actually book your exam doesn't open until the 17th of March. So you have already started your course before you actually register for the exam. But the exam itself, the SQE1 exam, is a multiple choice exam, as I said right at the very beginning. It's 360 questions spread over 2 days. And it covers a huge amount of topics. I will deal with those in a moment. But it is a multiple choice exam. It's computer based, and that means that it can be sat at different jurisdictions. So you don't have to come to the UK to sit this exam. It is available. It's administered by Pearson VUE on behalf of Kaplan, and Kaplan administer and design the SQE exam on behalf of the SRA. So it is available at different jurisdictions around the world. You can't tell exactly which centres are going to be offering it until you apply to register your exam place, and then you will actually register at a particular centre for doing that particular exam. So, for example, in the November exam that's just gone, there were no centres running the exam in the US, for example, because it went over a public holiday. There were some seats in Toronto in Canada, but there weren't any in sort of mainland United States. So even centres that have offered the exam in the past might not necessarily offer it the next time. So you have to actually look when you're sitting the exam and when you actually apply for registration to see what the source is. And you pay that £1,558 directly to Kaplan when you actually book the exam. Okay, so it's a multiple choice exam. There are 5 answers for every question, and all of those answers are what are called viable distractors, and you have to choose the single best answer. So that means that for some of these questions, actually more than one answer is actually technically correct, but some of those answers are more correct than others. So it could be that you have an answer that actually justifies itself, and within that justification, one answer might say have one of the conditions which are necessary for a particular tax relief to apply. Another answer might have 2 of the conditions that are necessary for that tax relief to apply, but the best answer would have all of those conditions necessary. So they're quite difficult multiple choice exams. They're not, there was an awful lot of speculation in the legal press before the first exams in November that doing a multiple choice exam was dumbing down the profession, was making it a very easy exam. And that was not the experience of most students who actually sat that exam in November. It was a very, very challenging exam, as you would expect for a professional exam. However, we have received very good feedback from the students who had done our course and had completed the course, and they felt well prepared for that exam. And we are confident that we actually covered 97% of the questions that came up in each of those 2 exams. When you see the breadth of the subject matter that I'm going to look at in a moment, there is no way that you would actually cover 100% of the exams, but we feel 97% is a really, really good amount of subject matter to have covered. So basically, from doing our course, you could get 97% in the exams that have just been sat in November. I don't think anyone will actually achieve 97%. I think that's very, very difficult, and somebody will have forgotten something when they're actually in front of that computer trying to answer those questions. But we have got very, very good exam coverage, so we're very happy about that. So if we could move on to the next slide, please, Anna. So you can see here the subjects that are actually covered in the SQE1 exam, and they're split into two lists, and that's because, as we mentioned before, the whole exam itself is 360 questions, but it's split into 2 days, so 180 questions in each day. The first day tests the functioning legal knowledge 1, which is the left-hand list there, and the second day tests functioning legal knowledge 2, which is a right-hand list on that slide. And so there will be 180 questions in each day. It's treated as one exam. So it's treated as, each day is treated as one exam, and you have to pass each day. To pass the whole of the SQE1, you have to pass both of those days, but it is possible to carry a pass from one of those days through. So if, for example, you passed FLK1 on your first day of the exam, but didn't pass FLK2, you would then have to resit just the FLK2 exam. On the resit, if you're doing a full resit, you'd have to pay the full fees of £1,558 to Kaplan again. That is not the guarantee that BARBRI provides, is simply for a free course. It doesn't cover the exam fee. There are some different rules to our bar courses in the US, but on our SQE Prep courses, the guarantee simply covers the course, not the exam. If you passed either FLK1 or FLK2, you would sit only that missing exam, and Kaplan would charge you half of the exam fees to do that. So I don't think I can do that in my head, but it's just over £750 that you're going to be paying to sit one of those exams again. Okay, as I say, to pass both, to pass the SQE1, you have to pass both, but you can carry one forwards. You have 3 attempts at the SQE1 exam within a 6-year period. So if you failed one exam, you would have another 2 attempts to sit that exam before you had to start again and start taking SQE1 again as a first attempt at the end of that 6-year period. As I said, we're very happy that we've covered 97% of the materials. We can never cover 100% of the materials of all of that information, and in fact we're at the moment analysing the questions that we didn't cover. Some of those we will not put materials in to cover that within our course, because each question is worth less than 0.6% of the exam in total together, and sometimes it's not worth covering a subject which is only going to come up maybe once every 5 years for 0.6%, but might add 50 pages to a particular textbook. So there is a decision, a professional decision to be taken about what's actually covered, and we think that we have the balance right in our materials. We're very happy with how the November exam actually, the coverage in that November exam. Most of our students have fed back that the problems with the exam were actually with the administration of the exam as opposed to the preparation of our materials. So you can see the materials that are covered. Taxation comes up in both FLK days, and as does ethics and professional conduct. But basically, our course, the first half of our course covers FLK1, and the second half of our course covers FLK2. So it's very easy for you to actually know what's covered in each particular exam. There is no set pass mark for this exam. Instead, what happens is that everybody sits the exam, and then following the exam, then Kaplan do a huge amount of statistical analysis on each of the questions to make sure that there are no anomalous questions there, make sure there are no questions which have had some form of unconscious bias in them or whatever. And then they also run these things which they call ANCOF panels, which is where they're considering for each of those questions, once they've looked at that statistical analysis, what a newly qualified solicitor should know. And based on that, they will set the pass mark. So therefore, it's quite possible that for the November exams, the pass mark on the Monday, the 8th of November could be different to the pass mark from the Thursday, the 11th of November exam. And we will not know the pass mark until they actually publish the results on or before the 24th of January 2022. And the pass mark will vary from exam to exam, from sitting to sitting. And that's so that the SRA and Kaplan are confident that each sitting of the exam is producing the same result, so that no matter what sitting you actually sit, you are achieving that level that is required for a competent, newly qualified solicitor. We expect, just based on our knowledge of the QLTS MCT exam, which we've been preparing students for a number of years, generally there the pass mark tends to be between about 55 to 60%. So it's possibly likely to be the same, but we won't know that until each set of exam results are actually published. Okay. So I just want to talk a little bit about the SQE2 exam. Now, the SQE2 exam again requires you to pay an exam fee to Kaplan. This time it's £2,422. So that, again, that is on top of any course fee that you are paying to a provider to prepare you for that exam. And the difference with the SQE2 exam is that this is assessing you in the context of legal skills. So again, everyone sits the same exam. You can't choose to sit a different focused exam. And all of those skills are assessed within 5 subject areas. So that's business, property, law and practice, probate, wills, administration of estates. The title for that one goes on quite a long time, but it's basically probate and administration of estates. Criminal litigation and dispute resolution. And you have to cover all of those subjects. You cannot choose to sit, just business or just litigation or whatever. Everyone will do all of those subjects, and everyone will be assessed on those skills within the context of those subjects. So client interviewing and the attendance note is assessed in the context of probate and property. Advocacy is assessed in the context of dispute resolution and criminal litigation. And then the written skills, case analysis, legal research, legal writing and legal drafting, they're all assessed once in the context of business, and then they're split between the other subjects. So probate and property are paired together, and you will get case analysis, legal research, legal writing and legal drafting across probate and property, and then the same for written skills across dispute resolution and criminal litigation. And again, you can't choose which skill you're going to get within which context. The written skills, case analysis, legal research, legal writing and legal drafting, will be offered through Pearson VUE centres. So again, will be available in different jurisdictions. You won't necessarily have to come into the UK to sit those assessments. However, the oral assessments, so that's client interviewing and advocacy, are only offered within the UK at the moment in Cardiff, Manchester and London. So you would have to come to the UK to do those assessments. We are offering a 12-week course which prepares you for those skills. The reason why it's shorter than it's a part-time course, again 10 to 15 hours a week. The reason why it's shorter than our part-time SQE1 courses is because you've already covered the law in SQE1. So there is no new law in SQE2. Instead, what we are focusing on is how you actually look at that law through the context of these skills, because 50% of the marks will be on law and 50% of the marks will be on skills. you will end up with one composite average mark for SQE2, and therefore if you fail that overall mark, you'll have to sit the whole thing again. There's no chance of being competent in just interviewing or just advocacy or just a particular subject. So it's an all or nothing exam for SQE2. But I said the advantage of it is that you don't have to learn any new law because you've covered that in SQE1. Okay, so I think I'm coming towards the end of my allotted time to talk about the exams. So I'm going to hand over, I think now to Jude to talk about career support.
Thanks, Tracy. Hi everyone, my name is Jude Welsh and I am the Customer Experience Manager here at BARBRI, and my role was specifically created with the student journey in mind, and my primary focus is basically on student needs. So in my day-to-day, I would deal with things such as reasonable adjustments for students on mock examinations, or reviewing all your feedback to see what we're doing well or what we could do better. Reviewing all those public sector applications that Tom mentioned earlier. But the most important part at the moment, which we have kind of realised, is on career support. And that is really what I want to talk to you all about today. Now, if I was to ask you what your primary aspiration is, or what is the goal, it wouldn't be to merely pass the SQE1 and SQE2 assessment. What you're actually looking for is to become a working qualified solicitor in England and Wales, and that is definitely something that we want to help you with. We appreciate that employability is a really important part of this, and we want to make sure that you get as much of a head start in the competitive legal jobs market as you can. Now, as much as we are the expert in preparing you for all the types of exams that the SQE1 and 2 are, we of course are not career specialists. That's not what we do in our day-to-day. So what we've done is team up with two incredibly knowledgeable and experienced women. Anna, I don't know if you want to move to the next slide. Husnara Begum and Jane Drew, who are the forefront of all the careers offerings that we have for you. And to give you a bit of background about Husnara and Jane, to kind of assure you that they're the right people for the job, Husnara started her career as a trainee solicitor and then qualified as part of Magic Circle firm Linklaters, which she spent 3 years of her life with, and then decided that actually being a solicitor wasn't what she really wanted to do. So as she had a passion for legal journalism, she moved on and spent 10 years working with the Lawyer magazine. In particular, her focus was the student version of that publication, which was Lawyer to Be. And following that, after 10 years, realised that she'd like to dabble a bit in legal recruitment, but her skills really were on helping other people build their own skills and to do a lot of careers coaching. So she decided to, quit everything else and put all of her focus into her own consultancy firm, which literally supported, the legal sector, anybody in the legal sector that wanted to, build their careers or build their skills. She did a lot of media training for law firms and things like that. As a difference, Jane actually started her career and actually for 20 years was the head of graduate recruitment and trainee development at legacy firm Nabarro, who we all know now obviously as CMS Cameron McKenna. And yeah, 20 years she was there supporting all the trainee solicitors, helping them, build up all the skills that they needed to, go out into the wider world of legal work. And like Husnara, decided that actually she would like to go it alone, and 6 years ago started her own consultancy business, again primarily as a careers coach, to help anybody from 20 to 60 either enter the legal profession or leave the profession as it was. And currently she is working in collaboration with Husnara. Husnara began this careers and lifestyle website called Cheeky Little Careers. I'll pop it in the chat later so you can go and have a look at it, because it's an amazing resource. So both Jane and Husnara work together on this Cheeky Little Careers, but Jane also does legal clinics with the Law Society. So no doubt at all that these people are the best people to kind of guide you through the careers process, and every step of the way you'll get an opportunity to meet them and to really benefit from their expertise. They spend all of their time looking at what the SRA is saying messaging-wise about SQE, QWE. They've got numerous connections in the legal industry, always with their ear to the ground. So when they're giving you advice or whether they're presenting something to you, they are as up to date and as relevant about what's going on in careers in the legal sector as they possibly can. Sorry, my cat's just decided to join. But what does the careers support actually look like? Well, to be honest, the gold dust that we have, or the most valuable resource, is the career clinic appointments. Now, we offer all of our SQE students a 30-minute virtual Zoom appointment with either Husnara or Jane at a time that actually suits you. We appreciate that you've got busy lives, you're trying to juggle a heavy workload and study, and so you can reach out, email sqecareers@barbri.com to book in an appointment at a time that suits you, and if there's anything specific that you really need to look at that point. So the kind of queries that Husnara and Jane have dealt with since we started the clinics back in February are things like reviewing your CV and cover letter, tailoring these with you for a specific role. They'll give you advice on how to find the right paralegal job, because obviously for QWE, paralegaling can be a really good way to get that QWE. And how to approach your existing employer if you're already working, you know, about getting that QWE signed off. But basically, any career dilemma you have, any bit of advice you want at any stage, you can reach out, have this 30-minute appointment, and as I said, they really do know their stuff. Alongside that, we obviously run various skill workshops and events, and there's a series of different ones we do. So we quite often have just webinars, which will just relay to you vital information that we may have gleaned from what's changing in the industry that we just want to communicate. We do workshops which are a bit more interactive, and you know, we like to have your cameras on so we can see you and we can hear what you think about certain things. And they type of events we have run in the past are things like, you can see, networking, building your personal brand, maintaining your own authenticity while you try and fit in into the law firm that you might be a part of, commercial awareness, which of course is very important, and things like how to research law firms, how to plan your QWE, all really vital components for you as SQE students. We do panel discussions, almost like little fireside chats where we get a group of experts together to just discuss certain areas. And yesterday evening, we ran a really successful one about diversity and inclusion and whether there's enough of that within the legal profession at the moment. And we're also running our first employability bootcamp in December, where we're doing an almost mix and match approach. So we'll have 4 different topics: CV writing, interview tips, planning your QWE, and how to research law firms. And basically the idea is, it's a Saturday morning. If you feel like getting up and having an early breakfast, you can say drop in and do the CV one because that's relevant to you, and maybe the planning QWE, and miss everything else in between. Basically, you can just drop in and drop out. And they will be led by Husnara, and probably Jane as well will be there to be on hand. And then finally, all that kind of comes together in a careers hub. So as an SQE student, you get access to a resource page which has webinars from previous events that we recorded. It's got templates that you can download to create a good cover letter, a good CV, tips on how to bounce back from rejection, because we've all been rejected from a job at some point in our lives, I'm sure. And yeah, things like how to look for that paralegal job, what would be right for you. And that all kind of comes together in a nice little, you know, a nice little supporting bubble, really, because we do appreciate that your employability is really important. And we want to see our students not only pass those exams, but get into the jobs that they really want. And this is a real focus for us moving forward. And we're really trying to expand our career offering and support you really as best we can. So that's pretty much it from me, to be honest. We're going to now move into the breakout rooms. And what we've got actually is 2 options on those. So we've got one breakout room, which is on BARBRI course and support information. and we've got another breakout room about exam information. So you basically can choose through your Zoom which version of that you want to attend, and once you get into that breakout room, you can ask us any amount of questions you feel you'd like to following this presentation.